And it's Jerry Ashton once again with 15 Minutes of Fact, our best attempt to be able to make sense out of what is called the Occupy movement and its activities, especially in light of the press that it ordinarily gets. Probably nothing is getting more press than the threatened Mayday celebrations and protests that are going to be taking place on May 1st. In fact, I recently put a Huffington Post article up saying Mayday, 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 because the people that are very concerned are the bankers and Wall Street. Concerned that for whatever reason, people that are taking to the streets are going to cause them some form of distress, we'll say. So in order to find out for myself if that indeed was true, I decided to search out anyone that I could find from the Occupy movement, from the labor people, the ones that are responsible for the demonstrations that will be taking place on May 1, and I was fortunate to hear about a lady by the name of Jackie DiSalvo, who I understood would be an awesome person to talk to. Well, I want you to know that did turn out to be the case, and you'll find that out for yourself in the next few minutes when we have some time to talk with Jackie DiSalvo. Jackie happens to be a spokesperson for the OWS Labor Outreach Committee. She's a member of the planning committee for the Mayday Solidarity March Coalition, and she has a thing or two to say about just exactly how not only society in general, but the 1% in particular should respond to Mayday. So welcome to the show today, Jackie.
Hi.
So happy to have you with us. You've been awfully busy.
Oh, boy. I haven't had a full night's sleep I've been sleeping like about 4 hours the past 3 days. I had to talk to WOR radio at 5:30 in the morning. Oh, gosh.
Okay. Well, you're going to have a lot of people wanting to talk to you because you're going to be held responsible in some fashion. What is it about Mayday that seems to be so frightening to the business population and the bankers specifically?
Oh, I think there are a number of things. I think to start out with, they have good reason to be afraid because this Mayday is a huge escalation in the solidarity and the militancy of the 99% in threatening their power. So on that level, I would think they should be afraid, but it's not the kind of thing they're going to be able to solve with police. I think that they're also afraid because Occupy Wall Street engages in direct action, and we go into public spaces, both the streets and the parks, and they like to have more control. We are peaceful in the streets, but I don't think they want us there at all. Well,
let's talk about that. First of all, I'd like to divide our conversation of our 15 minutes into a couple of segments. Number one, what is it exactly that you're expecting occupiers to do, and what are the activities that are being planned on Mayday? And then let's go very briefly into the history of the importance of people being on the streets. That's been true of us throughout the history of the United States.
Okay, well, there are more things being announced every day. There are several coalitions and coalitions within coalitions that are organizing events. So let me tell you first about the most comprehensive event, where everyone will wind up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Union Square Park for a kind of concert rally with rappers and Latin jazz and all kinds of wonderful things and some speeches. And then we'll march together at 5:30 down Broadway to Wall Street and then just past the Bull to Broadway, which is the headquarters of the Metropolitan Transit Authority. So we're being led by transit workers who are in a big battle with them. So that's the main event, and that has been planned by a very big coalition of over 50 unions, over 20 immigrant groups, and over 30 other organizations, as well as a big student movement.
Well,
but there are other things happening in addition.
Well, let's talk about this not only on the local metro New York City area, but across the United States. I understand there's something like 135 different cities that will be involved in Mayday activities, some to a greater extent than others, and that worldwide, more than likely, this Mayday demonstration will be the largest of its kind in half a century.
Wow, I think so.
Well, I do.
The Tahrir Square set it all going, and then Occupy.
Yep, Tahrir Square, and then, of course, the Indignados, the students in Spain, the students rioting against what would have to be considered really brutal police tactics in Greece. So
yeah.
you
and Madison, the occupation of the state capitol by workers in Madison is the first thing in the U.S.
Well, it appears that there's a wave that is growing and growing. Most people, when Occupy Wall Street was dispersed by the police out of Zuccotti Park, and then winter set in on us, they had pretty well given up the Occupy movement totally. Is that to be believed?
No, we've had a press blackout. The only way we can get past the press blackout, it seems, is to frighten them. So they blacked us out. I saw a list of how coverage fell off around the time of the eviction to almost nothing. And there had been a lot of coverage before that.
What people aren't aware of, and Occupy has been a major subject of my interest for the last several months as well, but very few people are aware of the fact that it takes almost guerrilla journalists to be able to get the news out about Occupy and its movements and what it's doing.
Right now they're very interested. All of a sudden, the last 2 days. They get interested if they think there's going to be some kind of conflict. They like to cover conflicts. They act as though the only important thing is when somebody gets arrested or something.
Well, that's in keeping with the mindset of this city. And I don't know if you saw a Bloomberg Businessweek article recently. It was called Wall Street Tracks Wolves as May 1 Protests Loom. And in this, a Pinkerton fellow described the occupiers as a threat, and that Mayday specifically was something that his banking clients had to be concerned about, and the need to survey and put under surveillance, I should say, and I'll call it, in my words, wild-eyed radicals. So they are creating confrontation just with the way that they're approaching it. Rather than seeing a peaceful demonstration occur, they pull out all the stops, and especially bring the Hessians, which we call the police, to work.
Yeah, and in contrast, this coalition, this broad coalition, and Occupy Wall Street are bending over backwards to avoid conflict. We have gotten permits and negotiated with the police for the march and the rally to be very peaceful. And we have, Occupy Wall Street has zoned out the city so that people will know that there will be these, what they're calling green zones, Bryant Park, which they intend to occupy for several hours beginning at 8 a.m. in the morning, Union Square, where there'll be an immigrant rally starting at noon, and then the big coalition action at 4 o'clock. And the march, we're calling it a green march, and these are green zones where there are permits. Well, there's no permit for Bryant Park, but it's a public park, and it's daytime, and people are supposed to be allowed to go in there, but the rest is all permitted. There will be other kinds of actions with Occupy Wall Street. We have red zones as well, because we're doing a campaign we call 99 Pickets. And on May 1st, in Bryant Park, people will be gathering to do all kinds of things. There will be teach-ins, there will be discussion groups, there will be free food, there will be free clothes, there will be free books, but there will also be people joining together to go out to various headquarters of the 1% banks and to protest. Now, it's very possible that people might go into a bank that didn't want them there. And we're calling those red zones because we are being very careful that if we're working with a lot of immigrant groups, and if immigrants get arrested, it's not just a night in jail and a fine. They can get deported for almost nothing. We right now have more deportations than we've ever had in history. So, but we're being very careful. And we had a press conference yesterday with many immigrant groups reassuring people that Occupy Wall Street is creating a safe place for immigrants to come.
Well, I'd like to address the police side of this. I know that when I was at Union Square just the other day, where there was a protest by the students against the $1 trillion in debt that the student population now owes, there were close to 50 police cars surrounding Union Square. Now, that's for a total of maybe 300 protesters. What in the world do you think they're going to put on the streets when you're talking about Mayday?
And they were those big vans where they could arrest a lot of people, most of them. There were a lot of big vans.
Yep.
They were planning on mass arrests, and the students weren't planning on anything, except a peaceful protest.
It's for a country that was founded on freedom of speech and freedom of assembly, it's interesting that it's only allowed in free speech zones rather than in the entire United States of America. Now, you talked about three things that I found interesting, that you're dividing the city into the green, yellow, and red zones. The safest, obviously, being green for protesters. That's safe from arrest and harassment, hopefully. The more problematical being yellow, and the risky being, and yellow, by the way, you could be marching down the sidewalk, which is legitimate. Step on the street.
Off the sidewalk. Yeah, that's it.
And you could be arrested for that.
Right.
And this
or
is
the police
America.
tell you that you're not allowed anymore to sit on the grass in Bryant Park, and you don't get out fast enough. I think we're planning to leave and have backup places to go if they do that, but you might not get out fast enough. And so they'll beat you and gas you and arrest you.
Well, I think it's important that people learn as much as they can about this. So let me give everyone right now some websites to go to. More details could be found at http://MaydaySolidarity2012.org. That's one. Then there's the usual HTTP, and then it goes to maydaynyc.org/homepage. And finally, for those who want to learn about this 99 pickets, you would go to http:// the numeral 9 picketlines.tumblr.com.
Can I just add something quickly on the pickets? Because I mentioned the Occupy Wall Street ones on the morning of May 1st, but already over 40 labor pickets have begun that will continue through the morning of May 1st as well. Laundry workers occupied the office of the owner of the hot and crusty sandwich chain, and there's all kinds. I was at a picket this morning of writers who are very underpaid that are trying to join a union. And the president of the AFL-CIO was there, and people from Occupy Wall Street were there, people from my labor group were there, and a lot of workers. It was a great, spirited picket line, and there are dozens of them happening already.
Well, the union is to be thanked for the 8-hour workday, the weekends free, insurance, overtime pay, all these things. And it's a continuing tradition. So very briefly, to complete our conversation in 15 minutes, in fact, I want you to give us a very brief history of Mayday and how it came about, and then we'll complete this interview.
Okay, great. The first Mayday, first of all, it's an American holiday which was abandoned in America under repression. It began in 1886 with demonstrations of workers, and in Chicago they were attacked by police. They had another demonstration, and again there was police, we believe probably a police provocateur, created some violence, and the police shot people, and it's called the Haymarket Massacre. And after that, a number of anarchists who had helped organize that protest were hung. And then Grover Cleveland wanted to get rid of it, so he created Labor Day, which was completely divorced from the radical protest tradition of the labor movement. And then in the 30s, the workers still celebrated May Day, and it had by then, right after 1886, it was adopted as an international workers' holiday, or Workers' Day. And but by the late 40s, the attack had come down on the labor unions with Taft-Hartley, and McCarthyism was beginning, and the Cold War, and the 1% said that May Day was a communist holiday because left-wing parties in Europe participated, the Soviet Union participated, the Chinese participated, but workers all over the world, the Mexicans participated. It's a day off for workers all over the world. Many of them don't have to strike. And so it was abandoned. The labor movement was gutted by repression, and it was abandoned. And it was only revived in 2006 when mostly Mexicans in Los Angeles, who had very fond memories of May Day, chose May 1st to have their first really giant demonstration. They called for a day without immigrants, and 1 million immigrants went into the streets, and 200,000 joined them in New York. After that, immigrants continued to meet in New York in Union Square for rallies, and they will this time at noon. And about 2 years ago, a number of labor unions, the more progressive labor unions, held a rally, but they couldn't get together. And this year, with Occupy Wall Street talking about all the 99% getting together and pooling their power against the 1%, everyone has come together. And so there will be this huge coalition with tens of thousands, I think, or thousands at least, of people in the streets.
Well,
and okay, I just want to add very quickly a phrase. In addition to the things I told you, there will also be students occupying Madison Park, where they're holding teach-ins in what they're calling a free university, because they think the university should be free.
Well, I believe that high school students are being involved in some fashion across the
country.
Yes,
more high schools every day we're hearing are walking out on May Day.
Well, Jackie, I would say that's 15 minutes plus of some great facts about what the May Day events will be all about. Hopefully, it's going to be as peaceful as your intentions are. So I want to thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Okay, great talking to you.
My pleasure. So my question to the listener, to WGRNradio.com, 15 minutes of fact, what's going to be your color choice on that day? Will it be green? Will it be yellow? Will it be red? Will you even be on the streets? You're going to choose not to go to work, not to go to school, going to take a day off, heaven forbid, from shopping? Or will you very wisely, and I put a question mark around that, stay above the fray and come home to turn on the news to watch your more committed and conscientious fellow citizens exercising for you the right to free speech and assembly? I wonder what that color would be for that choice. Jerry Ashton signing off for WGRNradio.com, 15 minutes of fact. Thank you.